All right, good morning again, everyone. Good morning. I am sure that most of you by now would have been refreshed. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to get started. With what promises to be a very interesting, informative, and productive day. My name is Pearnel, and I am the Public Relations and Marketing Manager of the Jamaica 4-H Clubs, and I will be your host/moderator for today's proceedings. But before we get into everything, we have to show respect for our beautiful island, which is Jamaica. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to ask you all to stand. Those who are moving around towards the back of the room, wherever you are, please maintain your position. Ladies and gentlemen, the national anthem of Jamaica. Please be seated. Again, let me say welcome and thank you all for coming to the conference for agricultural science and food and nutrition teachers with the Ministry of Agriculture and Fisheries. Today's activity is dubbed A Conversation with the Minister, and the Minister of whom we speak is Minister of Agriculture and Fisheries, Honorable Pearnel Charles Jr. Again, I'm just going to ask you to just focus with me for a few seconds as I now invite Mr. Okino Duki, Agricultural Science Education Officer from the Ministry of Education and Youth, to lead us in prayer.
Good morning, everyone. Shall we stand? Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we want to thank you for this day that was not promised to us, but through your grace and mercies, we are here. Lord, thank you for providing for us, for guiding us, for protecting us. Lord, for those who are on their way, Lord, guide them, protect them. As we are about to embark on this journey, Grow smart, eat smart. Conversation with the minister. Lord, I want you to guide his thoughts. I want you to guide the thoughts of our teachers, our agricultural science teachers, our food and nutrition teachers, as we have our conversation. Lord, protect us. Lord, as we continue this journey, we know the importance of food. We know the importance of our agricultural science teachers and our food and nutrition teachers in inspiring and developing our minds of our future technocrats and entrepreneurs. Lord, as we continue, I ask that you will guide us and protect us. If we fail to ask of anything of you, do not fail to grant it unto us. In your name, amen.
Thank you very much, Mr. Duque, for leading us in prayer. And in the event that you didn't hear before, I will reintroduce myself. I am Carol McCormack, Public Relations and Marketing Manager of the Jamaica 4-H Clubs, and it is my pleasure to preside over today's proceedings. Before I get into my introductory remarks, I just want to introduce to you the members of the platform, starting from my left, and I'll go around in the semicircle. From my left, we have Dr. Claudette Barrett March, who is the principal of our host institution today, Shortwood Teachers College, and she is the acting principal. Beside her is Dr. Clover Hamilton Flowers, the Deputy Chief Education Officer for Curriculum Support Services, and today she is representing the Minister of Education and Youth, Honorable Fable Williams. And now we get to the gentlemen. And beside Dr. Flowers is Executive Director of the Jamaica 4-H Clubs, Dr. Ronald Blake. And of course, beside him is our Honorable Minister, Mr. Pearnel Charles Jr. And beside him is the Chairman of the Board of Directors of the Jamaica 4-H Clubs, Mr. Colin Virgo. And we also have other specially invited guests. We have Mr. Joseph Small, who is the chair of the National Youth and Agriculture Committee. Beside him, we have Mr. Garfield Ewart, who is the Director of Field Services of the Jamaica 4-H Clubs. Beside him, we have Ms. Latavia Burke, who is the Vice Chair of the Jamaica 4-H Clubs, and I'm always reminded that she holds the distinction as the youngest Vice Chair of any board in Jamaica, and I think that is something worth applauding. And we have members of the minister's team. We have Ms. Rochelle Mitchell and Ms. Novia Wilson. Thank you. And I know we have quite a few persons from the Ministry of Education. Let me see if I can read my writing. I think I have Miss, is it Shania Davis Stubbs, Senior Education Officer. Thank you. And we also have Home Economics Officer, Miss Judith Moore, as well as we have other education officers who we will introduce as we go down. So ladies and gentlemen, grow smart, eat smart. Why are we here? We are here to hear the message of grow smart, eat smart. And I am not the one to tell you, but I am just going to do my best to put it in perspective for you. So Grow Smart, Eat Smart is a national campaign aimed at getting all Jamaicans on board. And this campaign, among other things, will revolutionize our approach to food security, precision agriculture, how we view the blue economy, and of course, how we increase agricultural productivity. So we are here to share that message with you, to hear from you what you think of that message and how you, as agricultural science and food and nutrition teachers, can enhance that message. So that is why we are here. I should also note that we have some agencies at the back. We have the Heart Foundation of Jamaica with us. We also have the Ministry of Education with us, and we are live on air on Power 106. And with Jesse Blake, I see him giving me the thumbs up, Jesse and his team. So we are live on air, not only in Jamaica, but right across the diaspora. So that is something good. We're at a big session today. So without any further ado, ladies and gentlemen, I am going to ask Dr. Claudette Barrett March, the acting principal of Shortwood Teachers College, to extend the welcome to you.
Thank you, Madam Moderator. Honorable Minister of Agriculture and Fisheries, and his team, including Mr. Colin Virgo and Dr. Ronald Blake, and all the distinguished members of the team from the Ministry of Agriculture and Fisheries. Dr. Clover Hamilton, representing the Minister of Education, and all the members of the education team here today. All the specially invited guests, the teachers of agricultural science and the teachers of human ecology. I know you've been saying home economics, but we call it human ecology. That's what it is known to be now. So I want all the students in the room, welcome. In fact, let me punctuate it by saying a warm welcome to Shortwood Teachers College. It is good to have you, and it is especially good to have the Minister of Agriculture here today, because I want him to know that you are all situated in an eat smart, grow smart institution. I want you to know that you have chosen the best place for this conference today, because this is a space that we promote eat, grow, eat smart, grow smart. We grow what we eat here at Shortwood Teachers College, and we eat what we grow here at Shortwood Teachers College. So you could not have chosen a better venue for this conference. Thank you for coming to share in this space on such an auspicious occasion. I know that when you leave here today, you will not only be impressed by our lovely salubrious campus, but by all the proceedings that will take place during this conference. Bless you. Enjoy the atmosphere. This is an environmentally friendly college, and so I hope you will experience friendly atmosphere at Shortwood Teachers College as you proceed in the conference. I look forward to you exploring some more about Eat Smart, Grow Smart, Eat What You Grow at this conference of the Ministry of Agriculture and Fisheries. They say, grow smart, eat smart. We support that. Thank you for coming.
Thank you very much, Madam Principal. And I don't think she could have done a better job in extending that warm welcome. And we are very happy to be here at your Grow Smart, Eat Smart institution. I just want to add to the welcome Mr. Garth Scott, who you'll be hearing from in a little bit. And of course, also from the minister's team, Miss Kelsey Thomas, and of course my own colleague staff. Welcome, welcome, and thank you for being here. So as we go along at this time, I am going to invite the chairman of the board of directors of the Jamaica 4-H Clubs, Mr. Colin Virgo, to greet you.
Madam Master of Ceremonies, Miss McCormack. Dr. Bright March, Principal. And she was too modest to say it. Years ago, long before she was principal, she was actually the driver behind the school gardens here. And it has morphed into what you could almost consider a model garden, certainly for a tertiary institution, and she really must be commended for that. Congratulations to you, Dr. March. I don't know if it's coincidence that she's the first alumni of Chartwood to actually be the principal. Distinguished guest, the representative from the Ministry of Education, Sir Dart Scott, fisheries consultant. We will learn a little more why this is so important. My hardworking executive director, Dr. Ronald Blake, is tired of me because I'm the easiest person on the planet to get along with, but I'm also very miserable and very impatient. My friend Mike Henry always says that he's an old man in a hurry. And that's a mantra that I have stolen. I'm not a old man, obviously. But I'm so afraid of the word tomorrow. Getting things done today. No. My father always said delay is danger. Conceptualizer of grow smart, eat smart. And the person who, I was about to say the person who had confidence to reappoint me as chairman of 4-H. Some amount of confidence in me a little bit before that. Mr. Charles was the Ministry of National Security. He was in charge of correctional services. I got a call from him out of the blue one day, and he said, "Come to the ministry and see me right away." No, my man, he was at Ministry of National Security at the time, and I said, "Jesus Christ, what we do now?" Mr. Charles said to me, "Colin, I want to create some of our correctional facilities in-house agricultural enterprise. So prisoners must not just be in there sitting down and eating out of taxpayer money. They must start make and grow some of what they in there eating." And we started that project in a number of facilities where it never existed. And to cut a long story short, let me tell you that it went way beyond our expectations, to the point where they even started creating things commercially. I won't tell you the names and the brands of some of them because I don't want those of you who purchase on the road now to say, "Wait, but a person this come from me now, but I buy it." But the program was a tremendous success. And I have to say again, and I say it behind his back, so I can say to his face, congratulations to Minister Charles for having this vision even before he was in this ministry. So, ladies and gentlemen, my day job, I'm a trade unionist, the General Secretary for the Bustamante Industrial Trade Union. So, I normally in a jacket and tie and all that every day. I'm deliberately dressed down today because one of the most serious things that we are grappling with agriculture is getting youth more involved in agriculture. So you might be wondering now, is what Colin up there talking to, because why would we have anything to do with that? Tell you why. Globally, the average age of the farmer is 58. Thanks to the Jamaica 4-H clubs, where we consistently each year have at least 100, in the worst of years, we have 100,000 active members. We have the lowest average farmer age in the world. Don't take it for granted. The lowest in the world. How much is it again, Ron? It's 46 or something like that?
48.7.
48.7. But still too high. Still too high. So the Jamaica 4-H clubs has a laser-like focus. We are the youth and agriculture arm of the ministry. So we're not simply about some clubs, some school clubs and some community clubs. We are the youth and agriculture arm of the ministry. So our laser-like focus right now is to continue to attract more young people into agriculture. Because the harsh reality is, let none of us fool ourselves. One of the biggest hindrances to agriculture right now is the perception that young people have of it. And that perception is driven, and I say this in no offensive way, by ignorance. The average person in Jamaica, not just the young people, the average person in Jamaica, when they think about agriculture and related activities, the first thing that comes to their mind is pickaxe or rope. I talk to the average young person about agriculture, the first thing that they tell you, them born and grow and see for them grandmother and mother and what have you, I do that for them entire life and they don't see where it put them. We have a duty, an urgent duty to change that mindset, because agriculture has moved beyond that and moved beyond that a long time ago. And every country in the world that can feed itself it comes like the last year for people yard. So ladies and gentlemen, what each of you are doing in your space is helping to rescue and build Jamaica, and we thank you for it. So this exercise today, a couple months ago, we dragged Minister Charles kicking and screaming to Earth University in Costa Rica, top agricultural university in the world, where we have a number of Jamaican students studying as well, and all of whom have graduated and come back are doing tremendously well in the companies that they're working. I can think of Tarek, for example, who is at JB Foods now. And when I sit across the negotiating table with the same folks at JP, because they don't know the connection, and they can burst to me and tell me that they have this young guy who is there now, and that young guy has tripled their banana production, has quadrupled their pineapple production, has shown them how to introduce some new and additional crops that they never thought of before, and all of which are doing well with basically the same inputs and the same resources, if not less. So it costs them less to make more money. It is teachers and traders like ourselves who built and developed a Tariq that we were able to get him the scholarship to Earth University, and he's coming and he's back here now, helping to build and develop and grow his country. We are very important. We are going to fight. And I close by saying, whatever means we have to use to attract people into agriculture, food and nutrition, etc., let's do it. I'll close with this confession. Dr. March, I don't want you to listen to this one. You know how I got into food and nutrition class when I was in high school, when I was at Manchester? See him so. See him so. Two that I was very fond of. Denise from Junction and Keisha from Lancaster. So they signed up for food and nutrition class. And me I said, boy, there's no other meal in that class. That even then, they had this sort of signal. I said, things like food economics and food and nutrition and so on. Our boys must do those things. But when you sign up for the class, you know, they say ants fall off. It was a transformational moment for me. Because their motive that have been different. It was going to food and nutrition that drew me into the 4-H clubs. This is Newman and Still. And those ladies groomed me, harnessed me. And the 4-H clubs groomed me and harnessed me. Taught me things that I would not have learned elsewhere, I would not have learned otherwise. And things that a lot of us now take for granted. What you, our teachers and trainers, and our staff members should do through the 4-H clubs and these training exercises, it has helped to build model citizens. Model citizens. There is nobody who has come through our programs who's out there now committing crime. No 4-H, nobody who has come through your good training, who is that book house. Our people. No one has to come out of 4-H. I want to thank you. Because if we had not rescued this 100,000 young people annually, you think we're having a crime problem now? Nobody could be here now. Neither see the police start come here. Continue doing what you're doing. I want to thank my management team at the 4-H clubs and Minister Charles, because it was coming out of that eye-opening experience at Earth University that Minister Charles said, you know, this activity that we are having today needs to happen. And it took a lot of kicking and screaming and pulling. Cut a long story short, nobody wanted to pay for it. But I thank Minister and I thank Dr. Blake and the management team of 4-H and Sir Scott in particular and his colleagues from fisheries, because that was where the resources came from to host this activity today. Because these conversations that we're going to have today, the rest of Jamaica might not understand it, and we will have to help them to understand it. But what we are here discussing today, probably more than any ZOZO or SOE, is not only helping to protect food security, not only helping to educate and train young people, not only helping to build model citizens, not only helping to cut down crime, not only helping to ensure food security for us, which is crucial and we take it for granted, but also at the end of the day, all around, you are helping families, communities, districts, parishes, and the whole country. Thank you very, very much, ladies and gentlemen, and God bless you all.
Thank you very much, Mr. Virgo, for those words of encouragement. Just want to quickly recognize again from the Ministry of Education and Youth, Mr. Sadfa Bennett, Assistant Chief Education Officer, Ms. Sandy Moore, Education Officer for Home Economics from Region 5, Ms. Randa Taylor from Region 5, and she's the Education Officer for Agricultural Science, and Ms. Judith Moore from Region 4, who is also an Education Officer for Home Economics. Now, before we go on, a little activity for you. I know you're here to listen and get the message, but I have a little activity for you. I know you all have your cell phones here with you, and I know you all have your smartphones. So I'm going to ask you to take out those smartphones, put on your put on your best smile, and of course, my online audience. How could I forget you? We are streaming live on Clover TV, that's the 4H YouTube channel. We also have persons on Zoom. We also have persons on our Facebook channel. And we're also streaming live on the Ministry of Agriculture and Fisheries Instagram page. So I'm going to ask you now to take out your phones. Take a selfie of yourself and your fellow teacher. Yes? Hashtag, I hear some people laughing. If you have on the mask, you can take off the mask to and show your nice smile. Yes? You're allowed to do so. The hashtag is Grow Smart, Eat Smart. And of course, you're going to follow or you're going to post that to the following channels. So first of our Honorable Minister, and that's Pete Charles Jr., and that's Minister Charles on Instagram. Yeah, man, I see the smiles, I see the phones coming out. Also, MOAFJA. Yes, and that's for the Ministry of Agriculture and Fisheries, and of course, Jamaica 4-H clubs, all on Instagram. So when I go back to my seat, I'm going to check all these platforms, and I'm going to see all the beautiful faces of our teachers. So, well, I notice when you take the selfie, when I talk, when I take the selfie, selfie is supposed to be smiling. All right, so again, we are streaming live on Clover TV, which is the 4-H Club's YouTube channel. We're also on Zoom. We're also on Facebook. And for Instagram, for our Honorable Minister, it's P. Charles Jr. For the Ministry of Agriculture and Fisheries, MOAFJA. And of course, the hashtag for today is Grow Smart, Eat Smart. So you take a selfie of yourself and you take one with your colleague teacher. All right? So get that activity going. So while you do that, ladies and gentlemen, I am now going to invite Dr. Clover Hamilton Flowers, who is the Deputy Chief Education Officer for Curricular Support Service, but today she is representing the Minister of Education and Youth, Honorable Favor Williams. Please make her welcome. All right, you're ready to talk me through this one.
I think I want to make use of the reflective space that was created by Mr. Colin Virgo. Even in terms of making use of that reflective space, it should give me the privilege of sharing my story. I noticed he was telling his story. So I'm trusting that you will also be ready to hear my story as well. Let me, however, recognize the presence of some key persons who would have made it possible for us to be together. And I'd want to recognize Ms. Carol McCormack, Public Relations and Marketing Manager for Jamaica 4-H Clubs. Honorable Pearnel Charles Jr., Minister of Agriculture and Fisheries. Dr. Claudette Barrett Marsh, principal acting, Shortwood Teachers College, and I would have mentioned Mr. Colin Berger already, Dr. Ronald Blake, Executive Director, 4-H Clubs, Mr. Garth Scott, Fisheries Consultant, teachers, important teachers. Let me recognize the presence of our education officers, Minister of Education and Youth, other distinguished guests, special invited guests. Greetings, good morning, and all of the Jamaican terms we use. Glad that you're here. I'm excited that the Ministry of Education was selected to be a partner in this initiative. It speaks about growing smart, so it's grow smart and eat smart. And I want us to consider that in addition to the overt message, it is saying grow smart, but there is also something hidden in that. It is saying we are to eat smart as well. Therefore, if we're going to be ambassadors relative to the goals of this campaign, we have to ensure that we take that reflective look to see if, in fact, we're making use of those principles and practices that would be considered smartness, also ensure that we're actually living the message that we oftentimes will communicate. In sharing my story, I'm also one of the recipients of the great benefits of being a member of the 4-H Club. I can recall early days in primary school, we would have those moments where we're learning to do all kinds of things through 4-H Club. Also want to recognize too the benefits that I gained from being a student of agricultural science. And here is my story. Just journey with me a little bit. It is a time of examination. Here I am doing chemistry. When I look at the exam item, asking me something that was not done in the chemistry class. It was actually asking me to address a situation that had to do with my exposure in agricultural science. Mark you, I was very afraid of all of the animals, but I would still do my best to participate. Here in the exam, I recognized the only way I would do well was to pull on what I had been exposed to in that setting. It was as though a light bulb had opened. As I was going through the papers, the different items, I saw where I needed to integrate biology. I needed to integrate ideas from culture, from food and nutrition as well, because one of the items had asked me about preservation of food. What is this saying to us today? In terms of growing smart, it is also saying to us we have to integrate knowledge. As a member of the Curriculum and Support Services team, you know I have to be just upfront. It would really be sad of me not to recognize the importance of us working together, embracing the value of the various disciplines that form a part of our national standards curriculum. We talk about helping to develop the whole person, then we have to be mindful of how the various disciplines are actually contributing to changes in the way people think, changes in the way people act. Today, we're recognizing the contribution of agricultural science and also food and nutrition, but also to recognize how they actually help to complement what we're doing when we're exposing our students to other aspects of teaching and learning. An important dimension of implementing our formal curriculum is to pay attention to what happens when we engage our students informally, and that is why clubs and societies are so important. So the 4-H club is actually demonstrating for us what happens when we pull on the formal and allow our students to experience those moments in our formal setting literally being played out through our clubs, through our societies. In terms of the ministry's focus, we're also making some strides relative to our national nutrition policy. And this also is serving as a springboard for us to promote it. We recognize that when we look around us, we'll see that many persons are struggling with health issues. We know that these stem from us not following the golden rule, right? Literally, we have spoken about things, but we have not transformed that message into the principles to guide our own lives. I want to encourage our teachers present to be the ambassadors, and you know that if you're considered an ambassador, you're gonna have to walk this thing, because your students will actually be listening to the messages, but they will also be paying attention to how you're actually living that message. So today, we're open to see what will unfold as we engage in the conversation with the various stakeholders. This will be led by our Honorable Minister. We want to see what it is that we can contribute to make the big difference. So we're talking about growing smart, grow smart and eat smart. And I'm committing to that. So let us, with open arms, embrace each other and then see what else will unfold as we talk together. As colleagues, as professionals, we're gonna talk together. Thank you so very much. I wish you great success at this conference.
Thank you very much, Dr. Clover Hamilton Flowers, Deputy Chief Education Officer at the Ministry of Education and Youth, but today she is representing Minister of Education and Youth, Honorable Favor Williams. At this time, we are going to go into a fisheries presentation, because of course, you know, it's not only just agriculture, but it's also fisheries, which also contributes to our overall productivity. So we're going to hear about sustainable fisheries practices, and who to deliver that is Mr. Garth Scott, who is the fisheries consultant to the Enabling Gender Responsive Disaster Recovery, Climate and Environmental Resilience in the Caribbean, also known as Engender, and that's a particular project coming out of the UN. So I'm now going to ask Mr. Scott to come forward and make his presentation. Please make him welcome.
Honorable Pearnel Charles Jr., Minister of Agriculture and Fisheries, Dr. Clover Hamilton Flowers, Representative Minister of Education and Youth, members of the 4-H Committee, Dr. Ronald Blake, Chairman, Mr. Virgo, sorry, Mr. Virgo. Other members of the 4-H team, and in addition, our Extension Youth in Agriculture, teachers of agriculture science, teachers of home economic, and I forgot the name that the Madam Principal said earlier on. So I use the teachers in the home economic science. Other invited guests, special invited guests, welcome all and pleasant morning to you. Grow smart, eat smart. In order for us to maintain health, it is important that we do what? We eat smart. Before we can eat smart, it's very important that we understand how to do what? To grow smart. So it is fitting, and I take a word from Dr. Flowers' integration. It is quite fitting this morning that the Ministry of Education and the Ministry of Agriculture integrate to drive this initiative this morning about the grow smart, eat smart. Because integration in the production system is basically the most important or most innovative, climate resilient or agriculture smart practice that we can adopt to bring about food productivity to ensure that we are secure. Now, urbanization, increase in population has bring about demand for more food. Therefore, the responsibility for the Ministry of Agriculture becomes much more difficult. Therefore, it is important that the Ministry of Agriculture bring in all these important people, what we call the agriculture scientists or the agriculture teachers, because they are going to teach the nation to drive this initiative. So we know that we have increased in population. Demand for food also increase. Diet requires that we get nutrients from all the 6 Caribbean food groups, and most important, our animal protein. But over the years, animal protein requirement has been shifting. It has been shifting for a number of factors. Our status increased, and therefore we want to eat fish. And a lot of people for religion, they are changing their diet, and therefore their main source of animal protein is now coming from aquaculture. Good? But as a result of the Grow Smart, Eat Smart campaign, we want to introduce a unit, and a very important unit, where we can integrate our animal protein and our plant protein. And in doing so, we want to introduce a very important agriculture smart practice, or smart agricultural practice, which we call aquaponics. And aquaponics is basically an integration of aquaculture, which is the rearing of freshwater fish. And I know a lot of you might already know about tilapia, and the Ministry of Agriculture is now driving a campaign, and I like the thing that they use, which is the tilapia recipe competition. I don't know if all of you hear about it, but the tilapia recipe competition is something that you're encouraging people, well, the Omicron people would already understand. So we are encouraging people to cook tilapia in a way that everybody accept it, because people were of the concept that freshwater fish is not tasty. But I think freshwater fish is tasty if you prepare it well. Good. So the competition now is basically changing how we prepare tilapia, and therefore it is encouraging more people to eat freshwater fish. So freshwater fish production, which is tilapia, we want to integrate with hydroponics. And as we all know, that is growing fresh fruits and vegetables in what we call a nutrient solution, or using soilless medium as support for plants. So if we manage to integrate our production system, then it's the best way to bring about our Grow Smart, Eat Smart campaign, which brings us now to what we call a hybridization of agriculture. And this hybridization of agriculture is where we are introducing our aquaculture system into our hydroponic system. Now, it is important that we understand that in order for us to meet food security, we must have what we talk about sustainability. Our agriculture practices must be sustainable. So for us to meet the need for the growing population, the need for the people who are changing their diet, the need for the people who need good animal protein and fresh vegetable for their health, it is important that we introduce the new hybridization, which is basically the hybridization of fish farming and hydroponic system in soilless medium. We put that together, we get what we call aquaponics. Good? Now, sustainable practices is what we must drive. In order for us to drive this hybridization system, or the smart way of producing food and vegetable, we're now introducing agriculture system, as I said, urbanization increasing. A lot of people are moving from their country. So the inner city is now what we refer to as concrete jungle. Common name for it. A lot of people think that it is a concrete jungle. Production is not possible. But with smart agriculture practices, production is possible anywhere. So we are introducing it into school gardens. That's where we want to start, because most of these youngsters, and I think Mr. Duffy can remind me, it's a EAT program, right? Home-based agriculture program, where we start in the school, and it's expected that all the students in the school would take it back to their home. So if we start in the school system, that is where we want to start smart agriculture practice. So we also want to introduce it into the inner city. So it's backyard farming, it's rooftop farming, it's window farming, and a nice word for it is all urbanized space. So urbanized space is where we want to start our smart farming. And aquaculture production now is not only where you have 1 acre ponds, fish ponds in production. It is now that you can scale down into small operation where you have backyard tanks and drums and all the different growing facility that you have. You can always introduce them into what we call the aquaponic system by growing your tilapia, using your whatever space you have, and also while you're growing your tilapia, you're growing your vegetable. So food security is our mandate. Therefore, with support from the Ministry of Education, Ministry of Agriculture, teachers in agriculture, 4-H leaders, you are all chosen. And you are chosen to educate, demonstrate, and to motivate the nation in order to meet climate smart agriculture and grow smart production, so that our nation can bring about sustainability in agriculture production, and not only sustainability in agriculture production, but we are also will be able to grow smart so that the entire nation can eat smart. I know I did not have enough time, so this is the end of my presentation, and I hope you understand. But in addition, we will be available for the technical component of all these Grow Smart, Eat Smart campaign. We are willing to work with you, and we'll be working with all the schools once you call on us for the Grow Smart campaign. Thank you all.
Thank you very much, Mr. Scott, on that very, very informative presentation. I'm sure you're a little bit clearer now, one, in terms of the project, and also in terms of the fisheries aspect in general. And of course, he extended the invitation in terms of if you want additional information. So we have another presentation, this time a special presentation from the Executive Director of the Jamaica 4-H Clubs, Dr. Ronald Blake, and he is going to tell us exactly how the 4-H investment in agricultural excellence works. So let us hear from Dr. Ronald Blake.
Thank you very much, Chair Lady Karen. Laurel McCormick. You know, I did some scripts on this piece of paper because I realized time is moving by so quickly. And when you see my friends, agricultural scientists and everybody, you could talk the next 2 hours. But permit me to recognize my Minister of Agriculture and Fisheries, Honorable Pearnel Charles Jr. Dr. Flowers representing the Honorable Minister of Education and Youth, my Chairman Colin Virgo, I see Chairman of the National Youth in Agriculture Committee, other distinguished ladies and gentlemen, all professionals, agriculturalists, home economists, those who are here, those who are joining us online. We are streaming live on Power 106. We're on the YouTube channel, and I just want to greet the persons who are there. But I want to commend our professionals who are invited to this conversation here today. I don't think we have said it, and I don't think enough people in Jamaica knows that the people are here are the people who are responsible for CSEC excellence in Jamaica. I don't think many people know that. I think many Jamaicans knows that the best pass of all CSEC subjects taken in Jamaica over the last 5 years is agricultural science. Not to mention, it doesn't stop there because I can't leave out food and nutrition or home economics, but these are the best pass rate. Not math, not English, not chemistry, not physics. We must put our hands to the leader and the team from the home ec unit, the tech book unit from the Ministry of Agriculture, who has spearheaded that excellence. And it is not by accident that my minister invited you here, because he's aware of your excellence. And akin to that excellence is the fact that there is no greater influencing team in the entire country than our educators. Because every one of you have the capacity to professionally influence at least 250 young Jamaicans who are imbibing from you. Powerful group you are. And that is why you are here as the anchor to our Grow Smart and Eat Smart campaign. You know, I need to tell them that CSEC was what, at the double award syllabus, Mr. Duki, it was what, about 90%, 90% pass rate. And at the single award, about 85%. Home economics comes out in the 90s. You don't get it better than that, Dr. Flowers. Right? If I'm saying it wrong, tell me, you know. Because that is a statistic I get from the ministry, and I follow it the same way I follow the 4-H statistic. I just want to say, though, that because of the great work you are doing, we believe that we need to meet you halfway. And that is why we have deliberately made some investment in these two critical programs in school. And so many years ago, when we developed the 4-H curriculum, we met with the curriculum unit expert at the ministry, and they helped us to build out ours. And so we said it's a companion curriculum to the curricula for agriculture, food and nutrition, as well as environmental science. If you know what all of those 3 areas have in common, is that they are some of the best performing subjects at CSEC. I think 4-H must take a bow for that relationship that you have forged with this critical group. Every year, we do about 178,000 training opportunities in agriculture, home economics, environmental awareness, and leadership. It helps to support what our professionals here are doing. The Jamaica 4-H Club is the largest sponsor of scholarship in Jamaica. Every year we do at least 356 agricultural scholarships and bursaries. It is not by accident that we do that, but it's an investment in excellence in agriculture. Because if we are going to get the kind of outcome in terms of the productivity that is necessary for agriculture, we're going to have more educated farmers. And I didn't say agriculturalists, farmers. We're going to have more educated farmers. Importantly, the Jamaica Forage Club developed 565 school gardens across Jamaica. But what do we get from that? Mr. UR told me, because I had 280 million, he told me that the most recent figure is $304 million worth of vegetables and meat that is generated from the school garden managed by our agricultural science teacher here that goes into the cooked meal program at school, Mr. Duki. I also want to say to you that the school garden is not just about providing food, but I often say it's a laboratory model for teaching the biological science, because you know you're not going to allow to teach CSEC in an effective way if you don't have a school garden that has a broiler unit, Mr. Duki. And so the school gardens are not just there to provide food, but they are teaching models. And I say there's no better way to teach in the content area, because you can teach mathematics from your school garden. You know that. It's the best way to take your student out there to learn within the content area. We built 153 poultry houses because we know how necessary it is, with partnership with Toyota Jamaica, the Development Bank of Jamaica, and other corporate citizens. 100, and FAO, Mr. Ewart is reminding me, 153 poultry houses. And Mr. Duki just served notice on me to say that he needs another 100 to satisfy the demand, especially in our urban and peri-urban schools, in order to lay the basis for the effective teaching of agricultural science. And we're going to do it. In fact, Mr. Duki and I will meet next week. He'll meet with our technical team, and we're going to be rolling out that map in terms of how we provide the support for you to continue the excellence that you have been doing. I'm proud to say, and I'm sure my chairman will be happy to know, that we are investing approximately $180 million every year in school gardens in Jamaica, $180 million. And while we are getting the food value, I cannot hear value on the outcome from the garden in terms of the teaching and learning experience, in terms of the ability for students to be able to learn and bring home those technical teaching to their home farming situation, and for that to be improved. I hope the teachers will tell us. I hope our teachers will tell us today. What else can we do to make our gardens more effective? What else can we do to scale them up? What are some of the innovation? What are some of the smart practices that you are doing? I'm sure those will come out with a conversation with the minister. What about our food scientists? It is important that you lay the foundation to change the palate of our young people. That's one of the most critical role of the food and nutrition expert, is to develop that creative meal, because the truth is, if we have a school feeding program that is etched on supply from imports, we are in trouble. The truth is, the young people who are coming to enjoy your breakfast at school, they don't want banana and callaloo. So our home economists will have to help to adapt that palate to start to appreciate the local food that we produce. And that's the challenge to our home economics officers and our food and nutrition experts that are here. The reality is that globally we produce about 4 billion tons of food. But home economists, did you know that approximately 1.3 billion metric ton of that food produced globally is wasted? And a significant portion of that waste, you know where it takes place? In preparation. And that is why 4-H Club is saying, don't throw away the banana skin, which is about 30% of a banana, a green banana. That's where the calcium, I was told, and the iron exists. Nothing is more tasty than that. I saw my minister cooking and sharing that at the Eat Jamaica function the other day. And I see people so delighted because these things can happen. I want our home economists to come up with those smarter way of eating Jamaica. To our colleagues, agriculture and food scientists, I applaud you for the excellence with which you are associated. Because of what you're doing, when I went to school to study agriculture, there were just about, Joe, there were 60 of us in the entire Caribbean doing agriculture per year. Mrs. Small, right? 60 of us. We had 56 in our batch. And it was the only institution in the Caribbean. You know what it is today? We have approximately 1,000 Jamaicans studying agriculture at the tertiary level. There is no greater potential for the agriculture sector in Jamaica. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to say to you, continue your excellence. The 4-H stands with you and will meet you where you need to be met in order to optimize this excellence. God bless you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Blake, for that special presentation on 4-H investment in agricultural excellence. By the way, how are those selfies coming on? Finished smiling already? No. Me not like how that sound, man. Selfie, smile, man. Show the teeth. My friend, you can take off the mask a little bit and smile. And remember, not only just take a selfie today and take it along with your colleague, but when you get back to your respective schools, take a picture of your particular activity in your respective area. And of course, remember to tag the minister at P. Charles Jr., the ministry at MOAFJM, and of course the Jamaica 4-H clubs. And that also goes for my audience online. So remember, finish take the selfie today, or maybe a little later you can go on the wonderful lawn of Shortwood and do that. And of course, tag those 3 platforms. Now, sorry? Repeat? Sure. So it's P. Charles Jr., and that's for Minister Charles. MOAFJM, and that's for the Ministry of Agriculture and Fisheries. And of course, Jamaica 4-H clubs spelt out. So it's Jamaica, the numeral 4-H clubs. And there's no dash between the 4 and the H there. All right. And of course, reminding you that we're still live on Power 106 FM. And of course, that goes up. I think they'll go up with us until about 1 o'clock or so. So we have been hearing a lot of talk, and I know you want to breathe a little bit, yes? Yeah, man, you can be honest. Say it, all right? You're the teachers, but we won't penalize you for telling the truth, all right? So we're going to have a cultural item. Now, usually we have cultural items with students, but today we have something a little different. It is one of your own who will entertain you. So, agricultural science teachers, food and nutrition teachers, students who are among us, I want you to help me welcome right now Miss Suyan Gordon, who is an agricultural science teacher from the Vera Technical High School. So let's make her welcome.
Hola colegas, mi nombre es Soyen Gordon. chopping is oversubscribed and Minister Chang's team is working overtime. You could have fully guzo, you can't hide. Pitney hungry and mommy has to provide. Here comes Minister Charles. Go smart, eat smart, everybody can survive. The only chopping we promote is the busting of Billy's throat. You have to be fully smart to raise more. $100 on the mango them, money too small. Export some yam and banana, US and pounds, speed off in your account. Gather your boots and tools. We're on an agriculture journey. I could be a chopper, but I'd rather work for my dollar. Thank you.
All right, no chopping around here. All right, not that type, of course. So let's hear it one more time from Ms. Suyan Gordon, agricultural science teacher from the Bear Technical High School. So ladies and gentlemen, we are at that moment where we are going to hear in detail the message of Grow Smart, Eat Smart. And who is the best messenger at this point in time? None other than, and please make him welcome, Minister of Agriculture and Fisheries, Honorable Pearnel Charles Jr.
Thank you so much, Carol, our chairperson. And good morning to everyone. Still morning. 10 minutes. I hear that we have a lot of persons online, so let me acknowledge you online as well. Let me acknowledge the platform. Of course, our goodly Dr. Flowers, representing the Honorable Faithful Williams, Chairman Verga, Executive Director of 4-H, Dr. Blake, Principal of Shortwood, Acting Principal of Shortwood Teachers College, Dr. Barrett March, Mr. Bennett, Assistant Chief Education Officer, our Mr. Dukey, who gave us the lovely prayer, Mr. Scott as well, coming with the fisheries presentation, Mr. Small, everyone that is here, distinguished teachers especially, who are here from across the island. I gather that for you who are here physically and online, we have a good representation, perhaps from all of the schools. So I really want to applaud you. You can clap yourself, teachers, for being here, present, representing what is excellence in Jamaica. Now let me get straight to it. I know that we are also broadcasting on Power 106, so those who are listening, we thank you for tuning in and stay with us. This is an important presentation. There is nothing more critical now than food security. When we speak about National Grow Smart, Eat Smart campaign, we are talking about the campaign to have sustainable development in Jamaica. Campaign to ensure that if and when uncertainties come, we are ready. A campaign that is going to see us inviting all Jamaica to understand what you do on a daily basis. I see, is that Minister Chop? Let us welcome our Minister of Justice, Minister Delroy Chop. Minister Chop heard that we were doing something here about food and found himself here. We welcome you, Minister Chop. Thank you for being here as well. And I was saying to you, I was asked by the Prime Minister, the Most Honorable Andrew Holness, to serve as Agriculture and Fisheries Minister on January 11th, 2022. I wondered, because, as you know, I had served in national security before, foreign affairs, water, housing, urban renewal, environment, climate change, all of those things. Agriculture and fisheries. I said, what am I going to do here? What's the plan? When I thought about it, that agriculture and fisheries is the bringing together of all of those things. about starting a campaign to really get the energy into farming and fishing in our country. It must start with the teachers. There's no group more important. There's no group of influencers more critical than your teachers. Every single one of us, whether we are a politician, whether you're a pastor, police, engineer, doctor, guess where you all started? Huh? Just so. And there's always some teacher that you remember. A teacher that influenced your life, that made you feel important and valuable. And you may even have a teacher that can press your heart. In the moment, you never like them at all. Until you book them up later. And they say, you did reach where they want you reach, don't it? You didn't get some fire under your tail. And you say, thank you. But teachers, no matter what their personality, are a special breed. I can tell you, not everybody can be a teacher. Not everybody is built or born to do what you do. But you, to me, are an important conduit of spreading the message of grow smart, eat smart, which is about what we put into the ground, what we put into our bodies, but guess what else it's about? What we put into our mind. Because we have to change the way we think in order to change what we are going to do. I believe in Jamaica. I believe that Jamaica can be a country that unlocks its potential and that we can see a Jamaica where our farmers can flourish without fear. I believe that if that is to come, it will require the focus and the deliberate bringing together of you, our agriculture and science teachers, our home economics teachers, our food and nutrition teachers. I believe there are other teachers also. Even general science teachers are teaching about farming and fishing. And those of you who are teaching, and I may not have called your subject area, but don't forget you. We still love you and bring you in. Because I had a geography teacher message me last night, oh, me wicked. And I only invited certain teachers. She want to come because she hear food going to be there. So all teachers are important, but we want to focus on you who are here, the select few, because we are building an army. We're building an army of teachers, of ambassadors, so that Jamaica can understand how to grow smart and how to eat smart. For a long time we have been saying in this country, successfully, we're going to grow what we eat and eat what we grow, and that message is still relevant, continuously relevant. But in the last 2 years, we have learned a few things. We didn't want to, but we were forced to learn some lessons. Teachers had to go here online. I don't know how you teach agricultural science online, but you found a way. Because guess what? You're smart. Are you, what you know? Teach smart. Hashtag teach smart. That is the hashtag for the day. Thank you very much, my friend. So this is, for me, the bringing together of the brilliance that we have in the country. And why would I want, as a minister, to be having this conversation in Parliament, in the ministry, and we don't tell you directly what's going on? When you are in Westmoreland at Belmont, and you are there listening to me, and you hear Mr. Charles talk about grow smart, eat smart, and a teacher says, well, what does that mean? You're supposed to be able to say, well, I am a grow smart, eat smart ambassador. And I am fitted with the information to tell you, students, that it's not just about production. It's production with efficiency. It's not just about growing and then selling. It's about growing to sell. Understanding that these things must be market-driven. It's about influencing your students to unlock their creativity. I want every one of you as our Grow Smart, Eat Smart ambassadors to be the teachers that the students remember in their future. I want you to be the ones that they talk about at their wedding. And I want to thank Miss Smith for the teach me how to farm. And because of that, we have 3 big houses. I want that to be you. Because the reality is, we have to turn things around. Farming no longer can just be a side job. Farming must be a viable opportunity for the young people who right now dig out their hand middle to put on that and pick up something and go on to the farm. But it cannot happen if we don't take a deliberate approach to make it happen. It's not just going to happen out of the blue. So if we want it, and I know you want it, then we must make this a national imperative. Do you agree? We must be the ones to influence. We must be the ones to inspire the students. We must be the ones to make sure that the structured curriculum and programs are very persuasive in letting them understand how to integrate climate smart technology, hydroponics, aquaponics, vertical farming, rooftop farming, urban farming. There's no excuse. You could live in St. Ann. Who is from St. Ann? We have somebody from St. Ann, anybody from Westmoreland? We have Westmoreland, anybody from Clarendon? We have someone from Clarendon, anybody here from Trelawney? We have, but you can't come from Tree Parish, sir. You put up your hand for Trelawney, Clarendon. I'm sure we have some people here from Kingston and St. Andrew, St. Catherine, St. Thomas. Boy, the excitement in St. Thomas. Wales, Pearnel, Manchester, St. Mary, St. Elizabeth in the house. All right, I think we have the most here from St. Elizabeth. St. Trelawney, didn't I? Yes, have I left out anybody? All right, we say a lone hand waving in the dusk. I have many online. The reality is, you represent the collection of excellence in agriculture. And if agriculture is to continue to do as well as it is doing, and even more, a lot of it depends on you. I'm going to tell you this. I am proud, very proud, that despite the challenges, we have still presided over an agriculture and fisheries sector which continues to record significant growth. Matter of fact, I want to make sure that all of you as our teachers, as our ambassadors, leave your email and your information. You must start getting the messages. You mustn't be picking up Gleaner and Observer to hear what's going on. You must be the ones that get the first-hand direct information on what is taking place in agriculture. Don't you agree? Yes. So you must go in, and if a student says to you, I saw something on the news, you must say, no, that's the wrong figure. I have the figure. Remember, I'm a Grow Smart, Eat Smart ambassador. Take it easy. Keep calm. I'll tell you the right information. You must be on that battlefield with us. So, the reality is that we have done pretty well because of what you are already doing. 6 consecutive quarters of growth in agriculture and fisheries. Round of applause. That deserves it. 6 consecutive quarters through the challenging times, through the hardest times, when our country needed it the most. This sector stood up strong, and the country stood on our backs, on our shoulders. And I must tell you, this last quarter we have seen 17.4% growth from the last quarter last year. We're talking about significant movement. More than 21.8% in plantings, yams, fruits, vegetables. We're moving in the right direction, but guess what is happening to us? Minister Chuck will tell you. Despite the fact that we have in the last 2 years in this beloved country produced more domestic crops than ever recorded, we still are unable to meet even 50% of the need in the tourism sector. That means that we're doing well, but we can do much better. We want to be A students. It's okay to be a B student, but it's better to be an A student. I want us to grade ourselves objectively. I believe that there is enough land in this country that we can turn that underutilized land into serious deliberate production. But guess what? A lot of it requires the students who are coming out to start thinking creatively beyond what you can even teach them. But it needs your hand as teachers. It needs the hand of the 4-H club. And today the spotlight is on the 4-H clubs as well, as they are out there training our youth and creating opportunities in the sector. And I want to take the time to salute Chairman Virgo, Dr. Blake, Ms. McCormack, the 4-H team. They are out there in schools, churches, communities. Sometimes you see them at the bus stops. That's flagging the fort. No, that's not true. But they're out there. They're out there doing the good work. And we must acknowledge them. And I want to tell you this. Warning to Dr. Blake. If you think you're tired, no. 2023 is going to be the year when my team works with the 4-H and we pull together the largest team to have the most widespread national competitions around agriculture and fisheries. We're going to invite all of our teachers to get their students ready, because we're going to have competition around the best Grow Smart, Eat Smart recipe. Yes, I see the eyebrows go up a while ago. Do you look like you're ready? We're looking at Grow Smart, Eat Smart song competitions, essay competitions, poster competitions. We want to come to your schools and see what you are doing at the school. So you can't hide in Portland or St. Mary and say, oh, you're doing great things. We're going to come and see and view the excellence. And as we have asked you today, I want you to take the pictures of your backyard and your school gardens and tag me, P. Charles Jr., so we can get it out into the public. Let them know what you're doing at your school. These institutions, whether it is primary, secondary, tertiary, all of you have gardens, which are also a very important part of the campaign here. And up to March of this year, through the 4-H club, we had more than 447 gardens registered and deemed as active. I would love for us to double that. I don't know how you feel, but I think we can double that. We can get the hospitals involved. In my constituency, I've reached out to Lionel Town Hospital, and they have some space there that is just bushed. All of these places can form a part of our expansion of agriculture and opportunities to inform and teach about agricultural operation. So today, we've invited you to have this very important conversation, and all who are listening to us, whether on the radio, online, or here physically, you can play your part. Backyard, school garden, you could have a half acre or an acre. Maybe you have some area that your parents or grandparents used to farm and nobody's doing it anymore. Make your New Year's resolution be that you are going to get involved in farming or fishing. Self-sufficiency for Jamaica is critical. No, I don't want to take up too much more time. I want us to have a conversation where you can get the chance to ask me some questions. And perhaps, since we have the goodly Minister of Justice here, I want to ask him to come and endorse, ask him to come down. This is unplanned, I must tell you. But we also want to challenge Minister Chuck, since he has come here with us. And As we have asked our teachers to take pictures of their garden and tag me, don't you think we should ask Minister Chuck to do the same? You have a garden, sir? Yes, so remember now, I know that he has a very competent social media person here. We're looking forward to Minister Chuck's picture of his garden. He's to tag us, and we're going to compare it to the gardens that some of our teachers have at their home and at school. So please give a round of applause as we welcome our Minister of Justice to endorse the Grow Smart, Eat Smart message. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Minister Charles. This is totally unplanned. I came up here because the principal invited me as MP for the area. Shorter just became a part of my constituency in 2020, and I've been meaning to come up here to meet with the principal. Came up, had a meeting, and she said, Mr. Charles said you're to come across. But I'm very happy to be here to endorse Minister Charles' strategy and program, Grow Smart, Eat Smart. I can tell you, I am playing a part. If you go to my house now, not me, but my wife and gardener, she has a couple hundred orchids. She has lettuce that she plants and feed the neighbors, and no need for lettuce. She plants tomatoes. I used to buy coconut water. Now I have 6 trees that I pick coconuts on a regular basis. I have ackee, pear. I mean, when you go into my backyard, it is a garden. And my wife wants to start one of these small hydroponic in the backyard. And really, the point, teachers, every single one of us can play our part, not because we want to support Pearnel, Charles, and the government, but for the interests of your health. You know, if you look at me, I'm Chinese, and Chinese love rice. Decided to give up rice and eat vegetables instead. Vegetables and food, you call it food. That is potatoes and yam, because they're more nutritious than rice. And so I played that part even then. But what is also important, ladies and gentlemen, Jamaican food and Jamaican cooking is well regarded across the world. If you go to America, everywhere you see a Jamaican restaurant. How many of you ever been to Florida and see Dutch pot? Dutch pot has taken over the whole of Fort Lauderdale. How many of you have been to Barbican Square in Fort Lauderdale? When you go there, you get some of the best curry goat, some of the best rice and peas, oxtail, everything. And then I go to Chicago, I see a Jamaican restaurant. I go inside, and the only thing about it has about Jamaica's red stripe. I said, is Panamanians running it? They get all the plantain and so on from Panama. We are not yet supplying Jamaica, much less to supply all of these restaurants abroad. Agriculture can take off and be a winner for Jamaica. I was in Rwanda recently, and Rwanda, poor country, decided that they're going to make agriculture their main export of feed Asia and Africa. And I can tell you, if we can just grow, we can feed Cayman, feed the Bahamas, feed the United States of America, because we have more Jamaicans living abroad and them love them Jamaican food. On the weekend, I was at Hilton, all the Jamaican come down, and you can see that all they go to is the Jamaican food. Plantains, I mean, they couldn't supply enough plantains and yam and callaloo and ackee and saltfish right there at Hilton over the weekend. So the demand is great. So what Minister Charles is saying, as you're going back into your communities, make sure you push agriculture and make sure agriculture grow. I'm a countryman, you know. You didn't know that I come from the hills of riches in Clarendon. So I grew up on a farm. I used to be on my grandma hamper the back of his donkey when she went to market. And I used to go with her to Spanish Town Market to sell. So I know about farming. Hard, but it can be profitable if you work on it carefully. So I want to wish you well. And remember, the program is fully endorsed. Pearnel is doing a great job. But there's one thing talking about it. We need results now. We need growth. Okay? All the best to you.
Thank you to Minister Chuck. Give him a round of applause for me, please. All right, now we're going to move swiftly into the question and answer, or the conversation really, where I'm hoping that you will have either things to say or questions to ask. And so at this time, I want to invite you, teachers, to raise your hand if you have any questions. Ms. McCormack will identify you. Let me know. You can come up to the mic that has been presented, express your question, and then I will respond, or whoever the relevant person is will respond. And if others of you have questions now, raise your hand so that we can just start to put them in line. Questions online as well. Let's write all the names and question, please.
My name is Alvita Sherson, teacher of Government Academy. My question to the Minister of Agriculture, or our Security Minister has left. As the first question, we were ushered online as teachers during COVID, and were ushered without any computer or internet, any technological equipment. We are now ushered to go and go smart, eat smart. So I'm asking you, what are your plans, and what are the resources that you will provide to the schools so that we can transform our institution into an agri-smart one? We're paid with previously to everyone assist us as teachers, as parents, to combat this very, very dangerous thing that is happening to our country.
Thank you so much. Well, let me firstly tell you, I like what you said about transforming the school into an agri-smart institution. It's going to require resources. I know that a lot of that is directly from the Ministry of Agriculture only, but we will be working through our agencies, and I'm going to give you an example. The Jamaica Dairy Development Board has recircled a certain amount of funds that we're using to help start the programs of rehabilitating and resuscitating some schools across the country. Starting about 15, and we will pump resources into those schools. The same approach will be taken for the different schools depending on the focus is. Not every school is doing the same. Some schools are focusing on livestock, some on domestic property. This meeting start the conversation with me around how we can help you individually and how we can get now the other support we need from the other ministries that are relevant to giving you resources to be agri-smart. But that's a good question, and we want to, I think that from this conversation we'll be able to really build out a better budget to help us to achieve our goals. Pearnel asked me is and has been from day one a focus. I have deliberately not been on Pearnel asked me. The reason is coming from national security. There's one thing I learned. I'm not going to let teeth run everything I am doing. Explain to the country, and I tell you that we have put together a very competent team that has assessed where we are in relation to our capacity to prevent pregnancy. standing in the JCF. We have the right equipment, monitoring and enforcing. Do we have the right legislation? All of those questions have been answered, and we are already taking steps to make the amendments to increase fines and penalties. We have done some workshops with the JCF this year. Every single JCF had a raising awareness workshop around the prevention of pre and larceny. We went out a couple of times, and we continue to go out with the latest the National Animal Tagging Program. That program will have to be 2023 properly throughout the country and driven to make sure that we can have, for instance, tagged, so that if the police were to stop a van, 6 cows in there, tagged, 2 untagged, 4 tagged, you should be able to link that tagging to the passport. And even if you can't link it to the passport, every tag will know DNA from the animal that we can then link back to the owner. The other 2 that are untagged are Pearnel cows. See, because if you don't tag them, it means you don't want the government to take them. So we are telling you very simply, we have to get down to where the police can enforce without problem. No, that can't happen overnight. Because if we're going to call on farmers to reach that standard, we have to get up to that standard. Impractical, it has to be sensible and reasonable. So over the next couple of months, we are going to have, and this, when I say we, I mean us, the whole of it, we're going to have to raise awareness. That's why when we have your information, you will have to be one of the first cohorts getting the information. So even outside of school, when you're at church or at home or in your community, they know who you are. They know you're the one teaching agriculture. So they're going to come to you. They're going to say, what is this thing that the man talk about animal tagging? Do I really need to do it? I expect you to be fitted with the information to say yes. And if you don't do it and the police catch you, they must take your call. So all of those things require more resources. But before we do that, we have to start informing. We have to get the program to be as widespread as possible so that we get as many as we can. We have to spread it beyond just cows to other livestock. And we have to find the ways now to create safe spaces. Agri parks and our production zones must be safe spaces for farming to start. Schools must be safe spaces for farming. You can't be farming on an acre at your school and then you have to be worried about protecting the vegetables. So in terms of the fencing of the schools, in terms of the security at the schools, these are conversations that we are going to have with the other ministries, and we will give what support we can. It's not going to happen like this, but certainly progress starts with this conversation. Next question.
In addition to what Minster just said, remember the Minister of Agriculture invests over $200 million in the forward crops. We put $180 million in a school garden program. Next year, 170 school gardens were equipped with rainwater harvesting system and drip technology. And the Minister's contribution to our school agriculture program is probably one of the largest contributions we have. And I'm not taking the school, here's what the school chair, I'm aware that increase in the budget this year. So we really need to do more for schools in the year.
Very good. Next question quickly. You have them in line, Ms. Performer. Okay. See, see some good support. Let me tell you this. I expect that we will have all the answers, but I know that we have fundamental answers to get us moving. Reasons why we develop Grow Smart, Eat Smart is exactly what you said a while ago. In my assessment, I remember driving through Clarendon one time and I had to swing because half of the road was just ackee. Somebody just had a pile of ackee on the road. And I stopped and I said to the man, boss, you can't have your ackee take up one half of the road. He said, no, Mr. Charles, don't worry yourself. Somebody coming for it right now. 3 years later, I had to swing again. I said, oh, he said, no, I said this. He said, no, the man never come. It shows you the fluctuations and the problems and how our primary producers are impacted by fluctuations in the market. Minster has a very particular approach. We have competent persons who have skills so we can push a market-driven approach. Shouldn't be farming because my father and my grandfather used to do pumpkin. Should be farming because you have secured a market and that the demand is X and you can provide X percentage of the demand. Our responsibility as a government is to make those connections. So part of what I'm doing now in the Grow Smart, Eat Smart, you have heard me say production with efficiency, which means we will not be able to sell everything we produce one time. So we must extend our storage capacity. Jamaica needs more cold chain storage so we can put our produce into storage and use it over time. As you said, there are times when we have high production and times when we have glut and times when we can't find anything. So for you to have that steady movement, you have to bring in what we call resilience into agriculture, which means more storage capacity, which means greater linkage to the market, which means understanding that farmers can't just farm, you have to know what you're doing and be a part of a program and a system. You, as our teachers, are expected to teach that from now. So that you're probably doing it already. But we have to have an emphasis on it. So students who are coming out to the farming and processing must understand that they have to connect their market before, and we are going to help you to do so. You spoke about overseas. I just came back from New York where we spoke to a number of Jamaicans who are expanding their operations across the United States, and they want our thyme, our onion, our pepper, they want everything Jamaican. Now they are clamoring and say they can't get, while people out here are clamoring to sell and say they can't sell. So we have to put the two together, and that starts with us having this kind of conversation. Then I move quickly to the stray animals, which got a lot of your support. A big part of the push in terms of further lasting includes also looking now on the stray animals. If you take Holland, anybody from St. Elizabeth here? Yes. All right, so you know Holland. 2,000 acres of arable land with water pumping off of the land. So how much potential is there? Stray animals is one of the things that's causing problems in that area. They get a 2 acre, they plant, and next week, 2 weeks, somebody who you don't know, 10 cow eating out the thing. Am I wrong? All right. Right. How do we solve that problem? So, I don't know. So, kill the animals. Perhaps put in place a process to pound the animals. Guess what you need? What do you need? You need a pound. And this is a part of the problem. Right? So that if you are a stray animal, and it is common problems that animal can be, nobody come for it in a couple of days, into the Mr. Linstead speaking about. So it's a part of what we are discussing here, and I want to thank you for your questions. Next question, please.
Junior, this is a tribute to your grandparent. Grandfather introduced me to family. Yes.
Picture.
I moved to St. Anne in 1976, and they were my neighbors. Your grandmother and grandfather were my neighbors. My mother developed a relationship with her grandmother, and I saw her grandfather going every morning to the bushes. And I asked my mother, where is Mr. Charles going? She said he's going to his field. I said, can't I go there? She said, no. He said, I want to go see what is happening on his field. And she said, okay, I'll ask Mrs. Charles. Yes. Mrs. Charles agreed. And Mr. Charles took my brother, my sister, and myself. Water for drinking.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you very much. So thank you for that. I grew up in Kingston. We understand this, that so we have to get into farming. Peter and Paul champion. It think that I should have to go in the yam hole. Yes. And my father, who you know, understand at an early age that any man who is going to be a man, whether going to a liar or whatever, have to know how to take care of the farm. So in the summers, I had to go to James Charles and Marita in Monet to learn how to dig yam hole. It was very upsetting for me, I must tell you. That they paid me for this moment when I can be connected to farmers because I've done it. Summer, I got my mother that because I did well, this will be my summer. Unfortunately, I didn't work out that agreement with my father as well. He came down the morning and said, listen, boy, listen. I said, well, listen, my exams are over. And he did the scariest thing. Chuckled. In time, and chuckle like that is a problem. I hear, so what is that? So, all right, you do well, you don't have a country no more, country coming to you. Too cold. Put on the land beside us, which no land is illegal because it wasn't our land. The man had too cold, he had to get up in the morning before day break, take the warm water, wash out the cow breast, try to make the tea and flick it in your mouth. And listen to me, it was an experience. While you make, put little salt in it, skim it off. But guess what happened? I don't tell you that I enjoyed it back then. But I can tell you, I respect and love the fact that my parents took the time to introduce me to farming. Because believe me, if you look at my house now, and it's not because of being a minister of agriculture, nothing that I don't grow in my house. And my roots. So, as you said, you have to get the kids out there. And I want to thank you for that. I didn't think about it that way. And we some visits to specific farms that we can speak to the farmers and get them to put together a presentation to introduce students to farming in a practical way. Thank you, Mr. James.
I was Blackwood from the College of Agriculture, Science and Education. Students, agriculture with our teaching in schools, how they know about the initiative Go Smart and Eat Smart.
Thank you for that comment, question. What we're doing here is connecting with you. It is our intention to connect and then disconnect. It is our intention to connect and stay connected so that you can be informed. So even if you may not have the specific prerequisite, you will get the information, you get the guidance, you get the support, and you will have a direct conduit to your minister. So if you need information from the ministry, I know that the ministry of education and we at the ministry of agriculture will give you the support. Academic qualification, but you have the passion the commitment. So you're creating of creative ideas. I'm going to tell you this. Why we want you to take your picture with somebody else here. Somebody you never knew before. This body is not just for me to connect with you and you to connect with me. Teachers to connect with each other. Share their experiences, their interests, pick up the listen, how this work? What can I do? What experience is what we're going to move as one body. Question. Next question.
Afternoon.
Afternoon.
My name is Camilla Bird. I'm from St. Thomas and I'm representing the College of Agriculture, Science and Education. So my question is pertaining to the farming community of St. Thomas, and as an aspiring agricultural science teacher who wishes to embrace agriculture and influence younger minds, the Eastern Banana Company and the Golden Grove Sugar Factory is now dormant. In what ways, as a teacher, may I influence my students as choosing agriculture as their career path?
I think that for me, at least in my life, every negative, when I've assisted and examined it, has led to some kind of positive. The shutting down of one operation might just be the clearing of that so that another idea can come in and take root. You're a teacher. You can inspire your students to see the various elements of farming, from production to processing, to the market that you have globally in CARICOM and the opportunities that are there for us to use those spaces now. To try and see how we can link that now to the practical understanding of what can be in terms of our agriculture production. So that was a special place where you have a lot of arable land. But I think we have an opportunity to work with your students and challenge them to see what could work there. St. Thomas is going to explode with potential once that road is finished. We're going to have a lot of hotels. We're going to have a lot of things popping up there. You have a full urban center popping up with food and restaurants coming there. What can our students do to prepare themselves for those future opportunities? That's what I would tell you as a teacher to start thinking about.
Okay, thank you.
Many opportunities in terms of land, start in agriculture as well.
As I look at Mr. Small and Dr. Blake, we have our Youth in Agriculture Committee, we have the 4-H Club, we have other groups, and I'll say to you, young lady, not next year for some initiatives that we will be starting that you can get your students involved in. We're going to get the Grow Smart, Eat Smart into the schools through you. That will mean that you have an opportunity, another opportunity to share your concerns, your recommendations, and how we shape this partnership between the ministry and the teachers to really get information to the schools.
Afternoon. Thompson, I'm a teacher at Federal High School. My question to you, Minister. Mr. Vargod said something about the institution in Costa Rica is offering agricultural studies to teachers. The Federal Minister said that is what agriculture has been given. Now, this is agricultural science teachers to become leaders and shakers of agriculture today. What you know, to bring students because most of the state of technologies, you see teaching.
Thank you. So I'm definitely not saying that it's dead. Agriculture has had its highest production ever this year, so it's not dead. The fact is that you have capacity, we need to inform our students. Part of what we will do here is throw out to the teachers who are here, what are they using? And I asked, when I went to Costa Rica as well. When I asked, they told me that help us to build up videos. There are enough videos already built online that we don't need to make that kind of investment right now. What we need to do is identify those videos and get those videos up into the classrooms. I know that some of our teachers already here in Jamaica who have messaged me are already using videos that they have found. FAO, the Food and Agriculture Organization, has already committed to continuing to support in terms of technical resources. And so I believe that what we could do coming out of this meeting is perhaps ask teachers, what resources are you using, what do you find to be the best, and put together a collection of videos that can be shared across the board. So we have a standard of information reaching our students. That's a good question. I want to thank you for the question.
All right. The other question I will ask is that we are focusing on conventional farming, as you're saying now. What portion of your budget that you're putting forward in order to develop this non-conventional farming system presently in Jamaica, since we have an increased population, we have globalization challenges, and you're under the Ministry of Climate Change and Resilience. What is it that you're putting forward in order to push this sector? Because I'm listening, but I'm wondering, I'm still hearing everything coming clear. So I want to understand, I want to go back to my school, where I'm teaching my students to say, this is what the Minister is saying. This is the Minister's focus, is not just go smart, get smart. What is the system that we're putting so I can see how we're going to build that plan? Because I understand that we're saying marketing, but I'm shifting or pushing the sector for us to go personally, to go and boost my students now, because all the time, business is so what is it that you need to do so I push them to say, this is a trust, this is what we're building, this is a ship, this is a dream of Jamaica, because this is what we're building.
All right, so listen, you are the solution. Happily, I don't have to teach teachers. You know what to say and what to do. My responsibility is just to reaffirm. So let me give you an example. We would have given an example of a student who came from Earth University and integrated remote sensoring into a farming operation in St. Mary. And that remote sensoring has led to greater water efficiency, greater production, less cost in farming, and more revenue. And so we would want to be able to share experiences like that amongst all teachers so that you can have those examples to share with your students. In terms of climate change and climate action in agriculture, remember that we have separate ministries. We're not the climate change ministry, but you're very correct that we are a ministry that is directly impacted by climate change. And so a big part of the Go Smart, Eat Smart message is introducing climate smart technology. It is my expectation that you, as a teacher, will know more than I. And so you will be able to introduce those kinds of technology to your students And where you want to get some more information, that's where we would come in. I would love to see a group of teachers going to Costa Rica. Matter of fact, that's something that we had actually mentioned, where we could get a twinning between some of our teachers here and some of those at the university to help to really introduce some of the technology that they're using. Right now in Jamaica, we have drones being used. We have remote sensing being used. We have different types of seed technology that is being used. We have different types of water irrigation technology being used. All of those things, what we can do is to make sure that you have all the information and you have access to that information. So that if you want to bring your students on a farm, we can carry you to a farm so you can see remote sensoring. If you want to show your students a video, we can facilitate by saying, here are a category or series of videos that speak to these issues. I really like your question because it challenges me and challenges us to think differently. That's what I want from you. All right? I want to thank you. We can bring the next person in. Good day, sir. Listen. So I want to thank you for your questions. The first question in relation to land. This year, I see that when this corporation provide leases to more land than ever before. In terms of introducing young women into that mix. So we have 70% of that group that receive leases being young women farmers. Does that mean that we have a lot more to do? So in terms of who right now want more to farm, we continue. The Prime Minister has actually given us a mandate, not just agriculture. All ministries that have any access to land have been given a direct mandate to pull your inventory together and for a full evaluation so that if there is land that is earmarked housing, but it is arable and it will be good for farming, it comes to us, and vice versa. So the hope is that when all of that is done, we will be able to isolate and identify more land, that's government land, to put into agri-parks. The AIC has that responsibility. In terms of the land in Westmoreland, a lot of that land is private land. Private land that persons have over time just not utilized. We have several persons who are overseas, gone away, the business bought the land, 100 acre, just sit down bushing up. We're going to have a deliberate approach next year to reaching out to them and to say, listen, here's how we can connect you with a farmer who lives in proximity to the land and will be able to come into a land development agreement with you to use that land, and you and him or her work out a deal. It's something which we want to facilitate as a government because a lot of the portions of land that you're talking about are privately owned land. But we hope to be able to facilitate that. You know, the bottom of that sugar cane land. I know, we're going to the sugar cane. So the sugar cane, as you know, also a big part of that is private in terms of flow. And they have not been able to reach the levels of production that they were expecting. Water Park is doing pretty well, and even asking for more land. I've had a meeting with SIA and with the teams recently, and we're looking at that. We're evaluating the operations now to see what is the best approach to making sure that we can, one, achieve food security, because sugar is an important commodity, and two, have best use of the land. So we don't want land sitting down or factories sitting down rotting. in 2022, 2023, we can't afford that. So we're continuing that conversation. I have a meeting with the stakeholders coming up in the next 2 to 3 weeks. And after that, we should be able to have a more deliberate approach to those spaces in terms of Westmoreland and that area.
Next question. I went to the agriculture show and I visited the Minister of Agriculture here. Region. Station was vast land.
The AIC has that responsibility of exploring and expanding, and they are looking in Westmoreland. They're looking at areas in Westmoreland right now. I'm looking at areas in St. Elizabeth, close proximity to rehabilitate. Thank you.
From Lebanon State, Pearnel, and Mr. Minster. It's smart. So we buy all this. As provision this country, or the future farmers of this country. And they can self-control and say, yes.
I want to thank you. That's a good question. I haven't been to Lebanon for a while. I used to be up there a lot in Moko. All right. Now, relates to input, we know that fertilizer and feed are the main inputs that drive cost. And in the last 2 years, we've had dislocation in the supply chain, which has really pushed the cost of fertilizer and feed up. Thankfully, we have been able to still push a $1 billion productive incentive program, which is why Jamaica can boast its highest production this year and last year. Does it mean that you won't still have some issues where you are? No. But what it means is that we have to understand the reality of the situation. We are producing. We can produce more, and we are getting resources out to farmers to give support. In terms of fertilizer, for instance, we received fertilizer from Morocco, which was distributed to farmers across this country and helped us in the boost in production that we saw over the last 3 quarters, leading to a 17.4% increase for the last quarter. We also have been negotiating and working with the companies that supply the inputs. So if you read, or if you're on my social media, you would have seen that because of our negotiations with FirstSun, we are perhaps one of the only countries that can say now seen the 3rd consecutive reduction in fertilizer price, despite the fact that we're still, every nickel make a muckle margin, we will accept it because other countries are seeing increases. So Jamaica must acknowledge firstly that we are doing some things right, but we have much more to do. Now I hear you, and it's a similar question to what our friend from Westmoreland posed firstly. I don't say that I have all the answers to that yet. Part of what we are here to do is to start the conversation around how we're going to be creative in getting our gardens at the schools up and running. And where I can step in and give a 1 or 2 support, I will be doing that. But the reality is that my hope is that in the next year or 2, we will be able to carve out the budgets, because we would have shown the results from this collective, where we can say to people, X amount of students at our schools are being fed from our school garden. And it will show improvements in nutrition, improvements in learning, improvements in operation and techniques that are being disseminated to the students, and overall improvements in the communities. So that's a goal. We start here and then we power up. All right, thank you very much.
One other question. The Camden region, especially in your constituency,
there's a vast amount of agricultural land that is there wasted. That land is occupied by anonymous. Have you ever thought about, or anyone of your advisors have ever put to you that we could probably produce some other crops on that land that could go towards seed, for example, corn? So I'm going to ask you about the investment of those land for farmers to produce corn and ask the feed company to take the corn so that we, farmers who have livestock, can get feed at a reduced cost. The fertilizer go down a bit, but the feed is going
It is as if you're we are now developing two things for Southern Clarendon. My seat, southwest, and going around that belt. We have worked with the SCJ to identify some plots of available, unutilized or underutilized arable land. And we are putting together a program that will be a comprehensive development program for Clarendon, including production and linking it to processing. When I leave here, I'm going to Montego Bay to meet with the Factories Corporation of Jamaica head, because we're going to discuss investments in processing spaces where we can build out and then get investors to come in to ready-made spaces similar to the BPOs. We're also, let me finish, we're also looking on a grain production program, not just corn, but what's the name of it? Soya, and there's another one. I can't say the name properly, sorry. And we're working now with a group that came to CTD Palmer and is willing to invest in developing a program around that. Why? Because grow smart, eat smart is self-sufficiency. It's not that we're saying we have to grow everything, but we want to grow those implements that are critical to keeping costs at an affordable range. And you are completely correct. Fertilizer and the feed is what is pushing price, particularly the feed. So at Bowens, we have instructed them to now do the research around what local assets we can use to infuse into the feed, whether it is the pig feed, whatever different type of feed, so that we can reduce the cost and keep it at a level. So really good questions. Just want to be assured that we are working on it.
Thank you very much, sir. And when you consider divesting, sometimes think about the agriculturalists like us who have the expertise.
All right.
Minister, as your name, please. My name is Shaheen Nabil. I represent the College of Agricultural Science and Education, pursuing a Bachelor's of Science degree in Agricultural Education. Jamaica is a very fruitful nation. As a result, we see a lot of wastage of fruits. Teacher educator, students have been materials to science, technology, engineering, solution to fruits and vegetables.
We're asking how can the ministry help to really encourage students to get into the kind of creative ideas to help extend the value chain. Let me tell you, starting with you. You're repeating it over and over. Sometimes I see people shaking their head like, why am I talking about? But the reality is, it starts just like this. Having a conversation where I can listen to you and you can understand what I'm saying. The second thing, we want to have some competitions next year. One of them is the agriculture innovation competition, where we can get our students to start thinking about what can we introduce into the system that will be utilized, that will bring some utility, some purpose to agriculture. It could be a new mechanism, a new type of equipment, whatever it is. And thirdly, goes back to Miss James. We want this connection to allow for you and for other students to get opportunities to observe, to be introduced to practical farming, mechanization, modern farming, which is taking place now in Jamaica, right? So that you can see all that you're talking about. You have persons investing in processing, you have persons investing in drones, you have persons who are using all of those modern climate smart technology right here. And as she said, we need now to be the facilitators. So you can bring your students, bring your colleagues to those places and get an understanding of how it works so you can perhaps do even better or do more. I hope that I've answered your question.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Kennedy Reed. I'm from the National High School.
Where I used to be a board member.
It's not working. I'll need this one. Here. All right. So we're located in the town, and we're not as fortunate as other high schools.
Excellent.
And today I heard this speech when it said that young persons have the stigma against agriculture. Well, where I teach, we don't have that problem. Right? The children want to go outside, but unfortunately, we were gifted a greenhouse a few years ago. And some persons came on the compound and damaged the greenhouse because they don't know what it is. They damage the things and they basically don't know the value of a greenhouse and how expensive it is and how they are hurting the children in the school. Because of this, our little babies in grade 7 all the way to grade 8, they cannot go outside and they're upset. I'll use this one.
They keep saying that they're not getting to go outside with the bigger children, but the truth is we have to prioritize the ones doing CXC.
And we only have one plot of land outside that can only occupy the CXC students. So what I'm really asking for is for some help to help us to fix our greenhouse
so that we can have it, so that the younger ones who are actually interested in agriculture and are doing so well in the 4-H club to just get the opportunity to go outside. That's all I'm just begging.
So, we are happy that Spanish Town is here. Spanish Town High? Yes?
Yes, sir.
I used to be a board member at Spanish Town High. So I know the school well and I know the challenges that you face at the school. I'm very happy and I want to acknowledge the hard work that you are doing as teachers to get those students up to 100% pass rate. And we want that across all of our schools for agriculture and science. Part of what I'm going to instruct and ask 4-H to do is after this first meeting, we have to do an assessment of the schools. We have to speak to you as teachers and see what the needs are. As I say to you, I'm being realistic. I'm not here to come and, just talk about what I do when we don't have the capacity to solve all the problems. But we can solve some of the problems and we can get the ball rolling in the right direction. Because we have, outside of government, there are also bodies and organizations that have reached out to me and said, we want to help. We see what you're doing, we agree with this thing, we want to help. So if we can't do it through the Ministry of Education or Agriculture, one of the things we want to do is link you to persons in the diaspora or organizations here or companies here who may be able to sponsor what you're doing under the Grow Smart, Eat Smart banner. It's about creating strategic partnerships. I don't believe in I don't believe in this notion that you don't have the money so you can't do nothing. Because I've seen persons who don't have the money get it done by creating the relationships and pushing the investment through those relationships. We can do it. Is it easy? No. But it starts with this conversation. It starts with us understanding the needs, and with us now getting out there, using our tentacles and pulling in the resources and the support to help you and to help the other schools. Thank you very much for your question.
afternoon.
Afternoon.
My name is Rachel Walker.
Half a second just before that question. I don't claim to have the gift of clairvoyance, but I know what is going to happen after this meeting. After we finish meeting here today, Minister will come to me and say, Furko, fix that lady problem. So you know what? I'm going to make life easier for myself from now. Public to fixing everybody's problem. What you are achieving in the heart of the inner city there, not the money yet, but the commitment on behalf of Minister, we're going to solve that greenhouse problem for you.
Thank you. I'm more cautious. But I like that. That's what it's about.
So as I was saying, my name is Rachel Walker. I'm a student at the College of Agriculture. I am from the parish of Pearnel, and I teach at Pearnel High School, currently I'm studying.
You're a student.
Mr. mentioned that perception is one of the issues that young people are facing. But to add to that, I would say, Mr. Bible, me, we have the front section that we use for cultivation, and then the back we have half acre. And cultivate something. The program would have been mentioned. I know that NIS also did grant, but when I go to do the application, it is stated that I need to have land title or I need to have taxes paid up. However, it is informal settlement. What can be done for the persons who are informally settled in a piece of land, want to be in agriculture, they want to cultivate and they want to access grants or capital to build this project that they want to do.
So it is.
Sorry. Let me have to answer that question. Under the READ program, one of the requirements is that one of the requirements is that you must have at least access to the land. We have never turned down any applicant who has been able to demonstrate access to the land. So even, there have been persons who have even gotten a note from a JP that I put the best of their knowledge. These persons have access to the land. We have facilitated it. As a matter of fact, it has not been said earlier, so it is important for me to say it. That thanks to some Mr. Charles, when we started the READ program, we were only able to assist 110, 115 young people each year. Thanks to Minister Charles' intervention and some fundraising that he helped us to do, both from within the ministry and externally. For this year, we have done more than 600 young people. So, we give them the technical training in how to run an agricultural business. And then at the end of that, we give them the startup capital and grants and tools and equipment and other things to get that business going. Because as with any other kind of business, 100% of businesses fail when people try to start them. So what we are doing with this program is training them first how to run the business, and then we don't leave them up on their own. We give them the capital to actually start the business after having successfully completed the training.
Thank you, Mr. Virgo. All right, now I think we have to cut the questions now because I'm supposed to be going to do an interview. Since you are at the podium, let's tell us quickly.
Agriculturally, as alluded to the fact that we have 100% pass, but it is a second keep. Particularly established. The culture startup is this initiative. To become a success because it's all about that.
Thank you so much. As it relates to access to financing for farming, the first thing to understand is that there are different levels in terms of the need. There are some, for instance, young farmers who may want to start backyard farming, and there are grants and support to the ministry for them to get some seeds and some support. You may have young persons who may want to start on an acre of farming, who may be trained at case and want to get into farming as a business. Those persons, we have developed an actual booklet, which is not distributed widely yet because we're refining it, that has simplified the process of accessing finance, identified the various institutions and the steps to help young farmers and even old farmers who want to expand to have an easier route to get into financing. The DBJ has worked with us, and this year we've given a $1 billion facility for farming through the DBJ. Several farmers have applied and received funding and support for their farming operations and fishing operations. Several persons, but you have many who did not get through. So there's still a block of farmers who, despite wanting to, are not able to get over the hurdle for whatever reason, whether it is the land title issue or they don't have the 3 years of history to show the financial situation, whatever the situation is. For those persons, ask the ministry to do an evaluation and to see what we can do to give support, to prop up, and to get those young new entrants some grant support until they're in a situation where they will be able to show a history that will help them to get the access to a loan for farming. We're also going to be meeting with the institutions, because we find that a big problem is that the institutions are not properly fitted with the information around modern farming, and if they don't understand it, then they will not accept the applications easily. So we're going to have some discussions through AIC with the financial institutions and with the DBJ to continue to see how we can increase the financing opportunities for farming. The last thing I'll tell you is that you still will have a group that's not going to get through, but has the skills, has the land, and needs the money. For those, we're trying to connect them to investors. So I have a group of investors, some abroad, some who are here, who are not interested in farming. They're interested in the products of farming. They don't want to be farmers. They don't want to be processors. They don't want to be out in the field. But they just want you to give them the time and the stuff so they can do what they need to do at their business. I have reached out to a couple of them and said to them, one of the big problems for our farmers, for them to be able to increase production so you can get more, is that they don't have the money for the startup. Would you be willing to get into private agreements with them and support their startup? They have said yes. So we're in the process of trying to formalize that now, so we can create a connection between some of those persons who have the money want the product but do not wish to get into the farming, to see if they can use some of that money to help with the startup so that the farmers can get a boost. Where they cannot get their own access to finance, they can get access to a startup from somebody who they can have an arrangement with. You understand what I'm saying? Right? So we've had the PPCR program for a while, and when I was Minister of Climate Change, a lot of that funding went to agriculture. It builds livelihoods, it integrates climate smart technology into the various communities. The problem is that we've done pilot programs. What we need to do now is move from pilot program to national programs that can be spread across the country. I've met with Minister Samura, who is now in charge of climate change and who just came from Egypt at the climate conference. And we will be approaching the Green Climate Fund. They have billions of dollars, but it is very complicated. The process is complicated now for us to access those funds. So we have to set up the structure for Jamaica to be able to access those funds and carry through those systematic programs. We have started that from 2 years, 3 years ago. We have a climate change unit at the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation that does a very, very good job. And they are doing a good job now in preparing us to be able to get some of those grants and more of that money in. My hope is that we can use some of that grant money and push it into the schools so that you, the teachers, will be able to identify the young talent and take them out and attach them to a program so they can get the support to start farming in the communities. And I'll help you, I'll talk to you one-on-one to link you to some of the programs that they have, and that will be started next year. Thanks for the question. That's the last question that we will have now. I just want to give a round of applause for all of you who asked questions. I know that I've been able to answer everything, okay? And that the answers may still require some more information on your part. If it is that there is something that I have said that you want clarity on, I will make myself available after this meeting. And hopefully we can continue the dialogue between us so that we can all grow smart and eat smart. Now, let me get the attention of everyone. I just want to say in closing, those of you who have been here today will leave with a certificate that designates you as a Grow Smart, Eat Smart ambassador. It is my hope that you'll start to push the program, to push the message around farming and fishing. I hope you take it seriously. I hope you understand what we're trying to do and that this is a national imperative where Jamaica needs you. I know that everybody won't have the same enthusiasm, but what I'm seeing here is that you have the energy, you have the competence, you have the questions and the agitation that can push us forward. If you have concerns or recommendations, share those concerns and recommendations. Don't sit down and say to yourself, why, and then watch it fade. We are depending on you to be the ones to push the message so that Jamaica can reach a place where we are self-sufficient, where despite whoever is the minister, and whoever is the teacher, Jamaica can say that we can feed ourselves, that we're able to feed Carrico, that we're able to bring revenue in to agriculture so that our farmers can finally get the right pay that they deserve. So younger generation can see this as a viable opportunity. That's why we started this conversation with you. We don't expect this conversation to be the solution to everything, but it is the start to our solutions. And I want to thank you for coming here, for taking the time, and for being so attentive. I think that we can say that we really had a very good session where everybody has been in tune, listening, participating, and you'll leave here, I hope, with a better understanding of what is in my mind, and a better understanding of what is in your mind. So thanks to all of you. Thanks to the principals who allowed you to get the time off to be here. Thank you to your students and to the community members that are supporting you and continue to support you. I believe that we have a strong start for us to push Grow Smart, Eat Smart throughout the end of this year going into 2023. I believe that I'm going to be giving out a select few of the certificates, and so I'll leave it to Ms. McCormack to identify who that will be. And I just, in closing, just want to say thanks again to the 4-H team and to the team from my ministry who really helped to push for us to arrange this in short time. I do think this was a very useful and engaging session. Thank you, everyone.
Okay, thank you very much, Minister. And as he said, this is just a sample few. The remainder you will collect on your way out at the registration desk. So we're going to have to do this quickly because Minister actually has an interview to go to now. So I'm going to call on Isand Lindo. Isand Lindo, you are getting a certificate which appoints you the National Grow Smart, Eat Smart Ambassador for your respective institution. So Isand Lindo, and it's going to be presented by Minister Charles. Turn around, Mr. Lindo. Shanique Clark Johnson. Shanique Clark Johnson, as you hear your names, come quickly, or if not, you collect it on your way out. Leroy Reed. Leroy. Come on, Leroy. Georgina Edwards. Georgina Edwards, all right, come along quickly. Simone James Rose. Simone, where art thou? Yes. And still making one last call for Shanique Clark Johnson. And while these presentations are being made, I'm going to ask Miss Jodianne Thomas, 4-H leader from the Pepin High School, and she's also president of the St. Andrew Leaders Association, to just get herself ready. And I should also let you know, because I'm sure some of you among us are also 4-H leaders. This week we're observing National Leaders Week for 4-H leaders, and that will culminate in their annual general meeting this Friday at the Denby 4-H Training Center in Clarendon. Thank you very much, Minister. She's going to move the vote of thanks, and Minister is now going to proceed to do his interview on Power 106 FM. Jodianne Thomas, the microphone is yours.
Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. I am Dean. It's a great honor and privilege that I stand here today on behalf of the agricultural science and food and nutrition educators to propose the vote of thanks on this occasion. Let me first start by giving thanks to Almighty God for making today's conference a resounding success. First and foremost, I want to make special thanks to our Minister, Honorable Pearnel Charles Jr., who took some time out of his busy schedule to meet with us as educators to hear some of our concerns. Minister, I hope this is not the last time that you will find some time out of your busy schedule to interact with us as agricultural science and food and nutrition teachers. This is an annual event on your calendar. I want to say thanks to our hardworking representative, Mr. Duki, and his team who worked tirelessly to ensure that most of the schools are represented here today. Thank you, sir. And We really appreciate you, and we appreciate the hard work that you're doing. To our fellow colleagues who travel near and far, this function would not be a success if you were not here today. Even though at times we feel like we cannot make it, but we all rise to the occasion as we want to see our country becomes food secure. I also want to say thanks to our invitees present today. Dr. Ronald Blake, Executive Director of the Jamaica 4-H Club, representative from the Ministry of Education, Mr. Virgo, Chairman of the Jamaica 4-H Club, Dr. Marsh, Acting Principal of this noble institution, Mr. Scott, Fisheries Consultant, and the Jamaica 4-H hardworking relation and marketing manager, Miss Carmo, sorry. Managing team from the Jamaica 4-H Club, thank you all for accepting this invitation. Once again, thank you all for coming.
And the only thing that is left for me to say is one more round of thank yous. And of course, thank you also to our host institution, the Shortwood Teachers College and their staff. Thank you very much for hosting us. Thank you to the Heart Foundation of Jamaica for being here with us. And of course, we're still live on Power 106 FM. Now, as I mentioned earlier, your certificates will be awaiting you at the back. I do believe that lunch is also ready. Yes, so you can repair to the table where you had your refreshment. And of course, how could we forget our online audience? Thank you very much for sticking and staying with us. And remember the selfies. We're not getting a certificate or a selfie up with the certificate. And remember who to tag the minister, tag the ministry, and of course 4-H. And guess what? You can look for Shortwood Teachers College online on Instagram and tag them too. So ladies and gentlemen, you are a wonderful audience. Thank you again. And as we say in local parlance, welcome.